Hey everyone, welcome back again, and thank you for tuning in. This is the Iconist Podcast.
Where am I? I'm on the podcast. We started. We already started. Oh,
we starting, man.
Good evening, everyone. Good day, everyone. Hello. Good
Hello.
morning. Hi.
Right on, and we just gonna get to the meat of the matter, right? So once again, you know who the host is, and the hostess was the mostest is one of them is myself, Barry 3D. For Deep Dark Delicious, you know where to find all my links, everything including this show on barry3d.com. Keep in mind, we also got a Patreon page right now. So if you go and look for the Iconist Podcast on Patreon, so patreon.com/Iconist Podcast, you'll see it. We got 2 tiers. We got a couple of videos exclusive for Patreon and a couple of polls on there that you can vote on. Put your names in there, help support the show. We'll give you something back, and we'll put your names at the end of the credits when we start compiling all those. That's for sure. And you can also find us all over social media. And like I like to say, my co-host, the man with a plan, the visionary, the man that make you jump up and down, the man will make you slam. Man will bring you back, twerk it, make the turntables weeble and wobble, and make the speakers blow out till you bust your back, because that's how I hurt my back. Thanks. One and only, my cousin.
Ladies and gentlemen, I go by the name of DJ Rod C. Ladies and gentlemen,
DJ Rod C.
Welcome to another episode of Iconist. Because the icon is, although I'm sure you read it, but the Iconist is who? Who do we have today?
Dick Tracy.
Let's go.
Thank you. So the icon is today Dick Tracy. And before we jump in, Rod, where we can find you real quick, man?
Listen, you can find me on the World Wide Web. You can find me on Instagram at Mr. Rod C. That's where I'll be. You also can find me on the twitch.tv/DJ Rod C. Listen, I'm out there. We're having fun. Make sure you pass through, say hi, give me a holler. Holler your back. Let's go.
And before we jump fully into this, we also want to shed out. We forgot him last time, and that's a bad thing on us because we never want to forget him. He's the other man on this show who makes us look so pretty. The one and only J Bird Digital Arts. J Bird Digital Arts. J Bird. Thank you for any of your social media needs, from templates to any kind of programming, and planning out anything. Graphic design. That's the word I'm looking for. That's the J Bird Digital Arts, the man to reach out to. Go to the end of the video, scan the code, see his name pop up, shoot him a link. He'll hook you up. Tell him we said hi.
He'll take care of you. Let's go.
Right on. And we are jumping into the man with the yellow fedora, the trench coat, dressed down in black. Dun, 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 dun. Dick Tracy.
Whoa. Really?
And I'm thinking, y'all gonna like Dick Tracy? Barry, why Dick Tracy? Because I think Dick Tracy it was relevant for years. He might be a little bit outdated now, but it's all about a tweak and an update.
That's all it is. A little tweak, a little moderation, and just bring it to the modern times. He can be relevant. We can rebuild him. We'll just leave it at that. We'll know where you're going with that thought.
Absolutely. So let's give you some history. So first of all, Dick Tracy, this character, he first appeared in October 4th, 1931. And when he first came to light, he wasn't even known as Dick Tracy. He was created as Plain Clothes Tracy. That was his original name. And Tracy, the people behind making Dick Tracy, or the person who created him, he was influenced by, if you watch the movie The Unforgettables that has Sean Connery in it, about Elliot Ness.
Right.
Elliot Ness has been around for years, and Dick Tracy was based off of Elliot Ness. That G-Man. And that's who he was based off of. So Plainclothes Tracy, Elliot Ness, and he was, created by. Okay, Gould. Okay, I'm gonna get the full name here. Yeah, Chester Gould.
Yep.
Chester Gould was the original person that created him, and then they even went up to Mark Curtis, who was a current writer, along with Shelley Plenger, and a current artist. But Chester Gould.
Right.
That's when names are good and wholesome.
Good wholesome name. Just solid name.
Solid name. Hey, look, the only Chester I know right now is Chester Cheetah, and man, am I hungry. So
I'm wearing the orange, but we won't.
For real. And the
we won't
impact
leave it
that he had. So he was first named as Plainclothes Tracy. He was sent over to, as Plainclothes Tracy to Joseph Metal Patterson, and, for the Chicago Tribune, New York News Syndicate, to be put in there as a comic book strip, right? And your Sunday funnies, your daily strips. And when he got it, he goes, yeah, Plainclothes Tracy, that's cool, but you got to give him a better name. And he's like, okay, what better name can I give? And he goes, well, Dick Tracy, right to the point. And that's how he came up to it. He liked it. He went with it. And this comic book strip, if you read it and you go back now, it might be a little bit wordy, but there was detective work in this comic strip. Mm-hmm. And oh my gosh, violent.
Listen, they were not pulling no punches back then. They were just giving you the full real deal, letting you understand this is how comics were back in the day. Yes,
right.
Very direct. Very direct.
Let's put some things in perspective right here. I watch a lot of movies. I read a lot of comic books. Sometimes I see violent things happen. I laugh. I think it's funny. I'm desensitized. Right? We all laugh when a guy gets kicked in the balls. Okay, that works. Okay. Man hit and groin. I sit there and I watch some scenes. I'm like, oh, snap. He got hit hard. Bad day for the stunt man. Okay. And I move on. So we move on next. I have to say, Dick Tracy, some of these deaths are like, holy crap. And you got to think that this was happening back, in the 40s, the 30s and the 40s, that this strip ran straight from 1931 up to 1977 with Chester working on that consecutively. He was the main force behind it from all those years. So one, good on him for longevity. The people that are kind of standing out that way now presently to me is Eric Larson with Savage Dragon, because he writes, pencils the whole thing.
Right.
And, a lot of people will say, oh, what about Todd McFarlane? And I'm like, yeah, Todd McFarlane would Spawn. That's true. But at one point, Todd jumped off and he wasn't writing it or inking Spawn. Eric Larson has pretty much made sure his hand and paper touch every issue of Savage Dragon, the original run, not the miniseries or the spinoffs, the Savage Dragon. So, yeah, they're going for that, Chester Gould medal.
He's going for that gold. Exactly. He's going for that gold. I want that plaque. I want something on my wall.
Right. You got to go, man. Chester went like decades. I mean, come on, from the 30s right up to the 70s, 40 years solid plus of dealing with this character. Good on him.
Good carpal tunnel, I'll tell you that right now. Ooh.
Yeah, his hand crump up, you know what I mean, on one character. So what I mean by violent, first of all, let's get into it. Dick Tracy turned around. He had his origin, and every character has their origin story. And the origin, as I said, he started off, he wasn't even a detective in his first couple of strips. You saw that they were setting up more of the bad guys more than Dick Tracy, right? So you had like the big boss, and he was going around, and they were showing more of him. They were showing Dick Tracy here and there, and he wasn't a police officer at that point. He was more trying to figure out what he wanted to do next in life. Right. You could tell he was still on the police force, but he was he wasn't a plain clothes officer. He was a uniformed officer. He fell in love with this girl, Tess, started dating her, went back to her parents. And, this is a good, wholesome times, right? So there was no hanky-panky before that. And at a dinner, he turned around and said, I'm going to propose. He does the whole honorable thing, asks for hand in marriage. She says, yes, this is great. Criminals across the street are watching because Tess's parents, so Tess Trueheart, her parents owned a delicatessen. Mm-hmm. And they, at the time, people didn't really put money in the banks. They would save money and literally put it underneath the mattress.
That's where you get the phrase.
Because
money in the mattress. There you go.
Well, yeah, because back then, man, people were getting robbed all the time. Right? Banks, not even people, sorry. Banks were getting robbed quite a bit. Right. So this is where it would come through that Elliot Ness time trying to stop them. So people would kind of they felt more secure keeping the money at home on themselves, hidden away somewhere, than turning around and putting it in the bank and they even said in the strip, is like he had $500, put it away, the bank got robbed, he lost it, now no insurance, is like, you're out, sorry. So he had like $1,000 or $2,000 that he had in a bank, the home safe that he kept there because he also had a business. His business he lived above his business on the second floor. So a delicatessen's on the first floor. He's above on the second floor. These crooks knew that he had money somehow. Mm-hmm. They broke in there just after Dick Tracy proposed to his girlfriend. She said yes. Seconds later, they break in. They start shooting. They shoot and kill her father. They kidnap Tess. They steal the money. Dick Tracy goes after them. He sees the two guys with his fiance by the car, but a third one pops up from behind the door. Pop! Fisticuffs. Mind knockout. Mother-in-law stressed. Got to rush her to the hospital. I mean, that was just the first couple of strips. I'm like, you really? That's how we going?
Crazy.
Sweet. Jesus.
So,
and that's not the violence I'm talking about. That's just the beginning. That's just the intro.
That's the intro. Listen, Dick Tracy, he basically, let's see if I remember what I caught up with him on that. Yeah, so after that, correct me if I'm wrong. So he, okay, now all I remember is that part, because you made me that part. You made me remember that part. Yeah, no, but basically I know he wasn't a police officer at the time. Correct.
No. He wasn't a police officer. It seemed from what I got from the strip that he was a uniformed officer, not a plainclothes officer. So he goes back. Sorry. Yeah, he goes back. He tells the chief what happens. Like, I mean, investigators come over. It's like, well, Tracy, they've got the money. Yeah, okay, but they got my fiance. What can we do? Well, she's been kidnapped by the big boss's guy. We're not sure what we can do. They'll be gone miles from now. We're not sure if we're going to find them. So Tracy upset. And when you find out later on, Tracy's got a background. So he has like a military background that you find out later on. And he was like one of those called a frogman. He would be a deep sea diver, right, for the military. So he goes back and he sees his chief. He goes, hey, chief, this is what's going on. He goes, Dick, you know what? If you want to join the force, I'll put you on. But I'll put you up to a plainclothes officer and not a uniformed officer. So it seems like he got a promotion from how they explain it. And then Dick Tracy was on his way. Now, it's very interesting to note that everyone knows Dick Tracy because he's got the yellow hat and the yellow trench coat. But at this point, he just had a black suit. He had a black tuxedo, black tuxedo. Sorry. There we go. Hashtag Maestro Fresh West.
About to say Maestro.
Conducting things. I don't know where my brain is going. So Dick Tracy comes out. He's got a black suit. He's got the hat, but even then, it's you can tell how they colored it was like more of a darker color, and the strips are in black and white.
Right.
So he gets out there. He starts doing detective work. He lets his 5 o'clock shadow girl. He goes undercover as an undercover agent and holds up at a seedy motel and tries to kind of get in with some of these thugs to work his way up to get to the big boss to find his fiance to rescue her, and goes through all of that. And it happened strip over strip. That this wasn't a resolved in one 4-panel strip. These were strips until he got up to his fiance, saved her, brought her out. All is well, all is good. And then now he still got it, but he hasn't dealt with the big boss yet. He just rescued her, got her back. And unfortunately, her Tess didn't realize that her dad was dead. She didn't realize her mom had a mental breakdown, so she's in a hospital, not doing well. Finally, Dick Tracy gets there and says, oh, got you guys united. Tess looks around, sees her mom holding these papers, like, what's the insurance papers for? And it's only when she reads them that she realizes that her dad is dead at this point. She he got shot, but she didn't know it was fatal.
Right.
So that's a lot of emotion in a 1931 strip. We think of it, and you wouldn't think how that happened back then.
It's it's hard. It's the viewpoint of where we're talking from. We're so accustomed to the modern age of 2022 and everything like that. But the mindset of back then, it was definitely being that forceful, that force to be reckoned with type of scenario. So seeing that, again, he's the man. He's got to make sure that stuff is taken care of. They took my girl. I gotta go by any means necessary. And Dick Tracy, plainclothes Tracy, did what he had to do, and it was it's an interesting character. He's an interesting character that you don't see that type of thing. You don't see that type of thing going on these days, actually.
No, and he went in there with no backup, no team, no planning. He was just him and his skills. So even though it might not have been conveyed that way, this is the way I'm interpreting it, right? Mm-hmm. If you're going in undercover with no backup, you always say it's like, hey, you go where you need, you say a code word, call us, we're there. There's no walkie-talkies, and I know we're talking about Dick Tracy, so hold on for a second. There's no walkie-talkies. There's no people watching outside with binoculars. Dick Tracy really went like solo. Like I'm doing this. That's it. Took my woman. It's on. Which means that he put himself in situations that he feels that he was capable of handling solo, even though he's going into uncharted territory, overpowered, outmanned, so to speak. But he went in there confident. So I like to think that Dick Tracy, of course, having a little bit of a military-ish background, being a police officer, he was okay at fisticuffs. He can handle himself.
Right.
And I mean, this is how it starts off. So it's very reminiscent of, like Batman. He loses his parents, he goes and trains and so forth, right? Peter Parker loses Uncle Ben, he gets bit by a spider. Great power comes great responsibility. Okay, he goes off. But both those people took time to either they got the power to make them augment it right away, or they took time to train from the time the loved one passed and when they came back and started doing their war on crime. Dick Tracy just went, yeah. What? You want me to join right now? I'm good. Okay, guys, drive me here, drop me off. I'll see you later. Bye.
Gone. It's the good thing about, you made a good reference in regards to the Elliot Ness.
Yeah.
Untouchables type of mindset. And you can clearly see that that's where the reference was coming off of. Definitely the same type of era. So you see that there was like no gun, no, what is it? What's the proper terminology I would say? Like basically it was just like there's no holds bar.
Yeah.
Is a terminology I'm just thinking. He just basically went in realizing, I gotta get my girl back. I'm not gonna let these thugs try to outdo me and, no. The streets aren't safe. The streets aren't safe. I need to protect the streets, this city, and it's only me. And you made it now made it personal. You made it personal. That's where the mindset is. You made it personal, and that's where it comes out.
Personal. And Dick Tracy goes after all of them, and starts bringing them down one by one, and starts tackling the big boss, and then other criminals that come up in the past and in his future, should I say. And he had very distinct villains. So let's get to some points. Now, I know when I said, hey, there is no walkie-talkies and all that, right? Everyone knows, let's call it, Dick Tracy had a smartwatch. But he didn't get that right away. That was on his two-way wrist radio, made its first appearance in January 13th, 1946. Character was made in 1931. So all those years, it was Dick Tracy being a detective. Like he really is a good detective. He went undercover and he did it multiple times going undercover, putting on disguises, letting his beard grow out to make it different. And then he only got the technology of the wrist radio, which was revolutionary back then, in 1946. Yeah. Okay. So the rest of the time is you'd have to beat someone down, drag him back to the police station, or get back there and then go back and get help.
Welcome.
It was no, let me make a call. And he wasn't even doing it like, get smart, open up his shoe and dial. No. Two-way wrist radio. I have my smartwatch on. Rod, I know you got a smartwatch. Smartwatches are more the norm here in 2022 than they were ever in 1946. 1946, it was an idea. People said, hey, that's cool. And that's why people identify with Dick Tracy. Smartwatch, yellow trench coat, yellow hat, black suit,
white,
red tie. They gave him the red tie too. They gave it a little bit more pop in a white shirt. That's everyone. You mentioned Dick Tracy. Even if you never read a book of Dick Tracy, you could picture Dick Tracy. And the amount of memorabilia that's come out, merchandising, you can find him on lunch boxes to coloring books. Everywhere he was licensed everywhere. So this is what was interesting to me. And then Tracy got his own little crew, like how you have the Untouchables. You got those guys in the police force, and he made sure that all of them had those little two-way wrist radios. Because what's the purpose of one person having a watch and you can't
no
reach
one to
nobody?
I can't find him. Where's Elliot? Did Elliot take his watch this morning? No, he didn't. Rats. Fist the cuff out of this. No time for backup. Let's go.
And then he still took it a step further because in 1964 it was upgraded on his TV show to a two-way wrist TV, not radio. So 1946 he's talking. In 1964 it's got a screen. Oh, smartwatch.
Real talk.
I'm surprised that someone didn't do a Dick Tracy special edition smartwatch yet. No joke.
Wow.
Think of it.
That is actually very interesting. That will turn a lot of heads. Because if you want a way of basically breathing back life into that character and making people realize, like, if you thought the smartwatches only came from maybe the 80s type of scenario, oh, no. There's been talk about a smartwatch from when? Way back.
Way back. I see. So if someone sees this in marketing, remember, you heard it here first. Patent pending, copyright. Right? Yeah.
Let's go.
It's picture this. It would be a nice yellow band, maybe a yellow rim kind of thing.
Get a black rim. Get a black rim, like a black trim just around the top.
Yes, a black trim around the top, right?
Top. Yep.
Okay, that's your Dick Tracy special edition smartwatch. Come on now, and then the box. Come on, the box is gonna come in.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, enough said. You can design that all together and do it
every day.
When they came up with the Iron Man movie, I know there was an Iron Man special edition smartphone, and people bought it. You can't go around and market a Dick Tracy smartwatch. I mean, the marketing is right there. It's like, come on, right.
Speaks for itself.
Like it smacks you in the head like your dad would smack you off when you didn't do your homework. Like your mama hit you off the head when you didn't do your chores. Just you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
That's my point. So this went a lot of ways. So one, Dick Tracy. When I said now, let's get back to some of the violence, and I'll talk on that for a bit. The violence that would happen in this show, like the way some of these people died. Like, okay, when Chester wrote something and he said a character dead, no, he dead. That character wasn't coming back. He dead. There was no, let's go to the Lazarus pit. No. Someone came through from the multiverse. No.
No.
There was no, he was really in suspended animation and we made a cure to help him reach. No. There was no healing factor.
He did.
And when I say violent, I mean, look, a couple of scenarios. One, there's one time that Tracy was dealing with one of the criminals. The criminals were hiding from Dick Tracy in one of those big garbage barrages. Barrage, a ship, right? So he's hiding at the bottom of it in the river, and the ship goes to dump the garbage. So what happens is the bottom of the ship opens up, and it dumps it. So it takes all the garbage, from let's say, and it would go into the river, and it would dump it onto the seabed and come back. The guy was hiding out in that boat. Boat goes out, opens up, dumps the garbage. Guy gets dragged down with all the garbage gets dumped. Okay. He gets his foot gets stuck on a rusty nail underwater, and then the garbage gets on top of him, so he can't get to the top, so he ends up drowning.
Wow, that's a lot, Chester. That's a lot to take in, man. 1940, taking it in, man. Wow.
Right? It wasn't enough, and this is what gets me. It wasn't enough to have him trapped in the water. No, we got to throw garbage on top of him. It wasn't enough that they had to throw garbage on top of him. No, he stepped on a rusty nail.
It
went right through his foot.
Right. So back then, you didn't have the proper medical, ways of taking care of a tetanus shot or something like that. Like people who get scratched by a rusted nail, it gets into the blood system, and it's very hard for them to come out. So he's making sure there's no chance of this individual coming back. How come? He stepped on a rusty nail. Oh, that's it. His life is done. That's all it is. Anybody be real saying, oh, maybe he swam for the top. Oh, maybe, he moved the garbage out of the way. Rusty nail. Oh, no, he's done. Crunch paper. He's done.
It was rusty nail trapped in the water in the river with, hundreds of pounds of garbage on top of him. Like, you really wanted to make sure. At first, the nail's like, oh, geez, I can't move. My foot's stuck. And I was like, okay. Another character he had, Tracy was chasing the guy down. The guy decided to hide outside, right? And the guy was wet, whatever. The guy ends up freezing to death, trying to hide from Dick Tracy. Yeah, he had no super soldier serum, so he was not coming back.
Okay, we're making this official. We're really okay.
Yeah, and
Just to
and
win
you
it.
would see, oh, we see their villain come back. No, 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 no. You either saw the villain's wife come back, maybe his son come back. So they all had similar features. So it's this right, and even the heroes, no, sorry, the villains that he had in there, they went down hard. I mean,
Wow.
it's like
Okay then.
modern day equivalent would be, guy turns around, tries to hide out. He hides from the hero.
Hmm.
He trips, hits, falls down while he's getting up, gets hit by a bus, pelted into the water. A boat goes over, hits him on the head. He floats down, but he's still holding on the bomb that he was supposed to put into the building to blow it up. Right? To be bit by either a shark who eats his leg, and then he's like, well, I'm missing one leg. I'm going to try to swim away anyways, to have the building blow up by demolition and not the way he had to do. And that building collapses on top of him in the water. And then he's still holding a briefcase with a bomb in it, and it goes off. Like, make sure he's dead. And then on top of it, a plane loses, its last bit of fuel and crash lands into the river just to be sure.
Just to make sure. There's no chance. Chester's covering his base before someone comes up with a story that said, well, he could have. No, I'm covering all that. Wow.
There's no DNA to bring him back to make a clone. Like, when you're dead in Dick Tracy world, you're dead. I mean, there was none of this, so
You're dead out.
right?
Wow.
That's how the character was. And I mean, when he had characters like Rubberface and Flat Top and oh gosh, the weirdest group of villains that would make Batman's rogues gallery go, we ain't got it that bad. Joker, oh, I just got pale skin. Penguin,
Yeah.
wow, I just got chubby and webbed hands, depending which version you're looking at, or a long nose. Two-Face, man, I'm only half my face is burnt up. I'm not like the rest of these guys. I still have half a face. 50% of me is still pretty. Okay, I'm good. I will not complain. Dick Tracy villains, look, you knew who the villain was because he just got hit with the ugly tree. Not even beat with the ugly stick. He ran into the ugly tree.
Wow.
The villains set that tone for me. So going down, Dick Tracy still had a lot of history because, as I said, he was created in the 1930s. Obviously, there is more stuff with him in the 50s, in the 60s. There was a black and white TV show about Dick Tracy, live action, that ran for a while. And then Dick Tracy even had his own cartoon on in the 60s. And the cartoon he had, even Dick Tracy didn't do much in the cartoon. It was all centered around him, but it was Dick Tracy and all the other detectives that were part of his squad. So he had an Asian person on the squad, and he had a French person, and all over the world working to stop crime. And they would go in there, and even though if you watch some of it now, it will be offensive how they portray the other characters if you watch it now. But keep in mind, they showed everyone around the world, and Dick Tracy's like, yep, this is Dick Tracy. How can I help you? Okay, Dick Tracy, I think I found this criminal. All right, be careful. When you catch him, let me know. I'll be there to pick him up. And that's it. And then the whole adventure would take place with the other person. And then Dick Tracy, I was like, Dick Tracy caught him. So it was a little bit slapstick comedy. There was a Mexican. There was, I said, worldwide. I watched a couple of it, and you can find some of these episodes here on YouTube itself, which is hilarious. So you can find the black and white movie. You can find the Dick Tracy cartoon to watch, but don't expect to see a lot of Dick Tracy. It's just him in the beginning, someone else, then it's him at the end. That's it.
Got it.
And these were the cartoons went on. I know they try to do some kind of futuristic, put him in space. Like Dick Tracy ends up in space. Don't knock it. I've seen Fast and Furious.
Yeah, true enough.
If you could put two brothers in a Fiero in outer space, Dick Tracy getting into space with military background, I can go for it. I'm open.
Yes.
Rod's like, what the heck are we talking about today?
It's Dick Tracy, man. Listen, all I can say is the cartoon was funny. I did see, like, Barry did point me out to one, so I saw one of them. It's a slapstick. They're basically with the Asian character and anything like that. That was again in the '60s when they had that type of imagery to make him look more slapstick and stuff along that line. So yeah, I agree. A couple of stuff might be look, be a little offensive to be played at right now, but at the time there was comedy. The main idea for it, there was comedy behind it. Um, and it was interesting. It's interesting. And then again, we had that, and then we went over to they had another show. That was the other show, and then we have the live one that we know of. Like I grew up on seeing the last Dick Tracy movie with
Mhm.
Warren Beatty in
Yes.
1990. So that one gave me the real live adaptation of it, and you can see how he was, again, always getting the girl type of scenario, and being that sleuth, that famous sleuth, and being able to fight crime with his mind, end up in a couple of fisticuff, as Barry would say. You had it all. You had it all. So it was very it was done. It's I don't know if someone might call it a cult, a cult.
Oh, it's got a cult following. Absolutely.
I believe so.
Absolutely.
I,
It
I,
still does.
It still does. Okay, so I,
Yeah.
I know I can sit down. I can come up right now and I can watch that with no problem. And I like saying that what Dick Tracy is. That Dick Tracy gave me that impression, or gave me the final seal of approval, but the visual of who he is and what he could do and everything along that line.
Right.
So
If you look at the
he can
movie,
come
the Dick
back then.
Tracy movie with Warren Beatty, right? It
Hmm.
was really represented the characters. And I know some people might say it's really cartoonish when they did it, but keep in mind that they wanted to keep as true to the property as possible.
That's the
So when you
thing,
got characters like Flat Top and Mumbles, the Brow, because the guy had a big brow and he was a Russian agent, the
right?
Blank, who had no face, like almost like the Question,
Yep,
Prune Face, uh,
yep.
Kofi Head, Big
Hmm.
Boy, Little Face. The names really tell you what these guys look like. So,
Right.
and now to show you the power behind Dick Tracy, to show that it's got that cult following, people watching, okay, so the movie in the 1990s, a live action one with Dick Tracy, the cast was unbelievable.
Yeah,
So, Warren Beatty was playing Dick Tracy.
right.
Al Pacino was playing Big Boy. Madonna, yes, that Madonna, like a virgin
Hmm.
Madonna, and I'll go with Dustin Hoffman,
Yep. Robert
right?
De Niro.
Kathy Bates, Dick Van Dyke. These are just the names I'm reading right now stand out right
Yep.
away for who's in here. Those are some heavyweights, and I mean, there's a bigger cast than that
Mhm.
you can go and look for yourselves online if you just look at the cast from the 1990 Dick Tracy movie with Warren Beatty, and that was like a big thing for Warren Beatty. Sean Young, she was in that. And if you remember Sean Young was also in Ace Ventura, Laces In. That court's a man. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
there was a lot of heavyweight actors,
Yeah.
and not just like the throwaway actors, as I would put it. These are the actors that really stood out. This was really well done.
Hmm.
As the time, it had the visuals, it captured the mood. That being said, we know how this show goes. This is the Iconist podcast. This is the Icon is Dick Tracy. So right now we know he's got live action. He's gotten a movie. He's been black and white. He's been in cartoons. He's on merchandising. We said it should have been a smartwatch behind him, but we got to come down to it. If we would have had to cast it right now, this day and age,
Mhm.
Rod, who would you see playing Dick Tracy?
Listen, I was I had a good time trying to find somebody, only because I wanted someone who could portray that type of showing the impression that they can take control, that they
Mm,
are in charge of a lot of things, and also having that square jaw. Because again, that's an iconic thing for him. If it's not the watch, he has that square jaw.
yes.
He has that square jaw. So I looked and I found an individual, came across him, and I was like, oh yeah, you would actually do good. So I went with Rupert Friend. Rupert Friend, if you recall, he played Hitman Agent 47. So Agent 47.
Yeah.
So from that movie, Agent 47 himself. He's also in Obi-Wan right now. He's coming up. He's going to be in the Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Okay.
show coming up. But because of that, because of Hitman, like I came across it and I was like, oh my goodness. And I'm watching him and everything like that. So he has, again, if we're gonna go from the basis of who Dick Tracy is, again, like you said, he's a frogman, a military man. He's basically a police officer, a plainclothes cop, be able to work the streets, work and be able to handle himself fisticuff style if need be, when needed, with the criminal elements of the streets.
Mhm.
Uh, I was going to go because of his particular role, definitely in Hitman Agent 47. He was just out there just fisticuffing people. Yes, he used the guns, but he was a man not to not to play with, not to toil. So
Okay.
my choice would be Rupert Friend.
All right, Rupert Friend. Okay, I got that. I see it. I was looking it up when you're talking right now, and I see it. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, I got you. So I went with. I wanted to go deep on this one, right? Because I mean, if you're gonna play something iconic, I wanted someone that's really gonna put some meat to it. So my first thing, and I'll just tell you, I mean, I didn't go with him, but I did think at first, Josh Brolin, right? Who played Thanos, who played Cable.
Right. I thought him too, and I was like,
Yeah, and it was too easy. I saw that it's a low hanging fruit, right? It was too easy. I wanted to go a little bit deeper, so I wanted to challenge myself. So I went through a couple of different people, and it was nice to do this research. And I've come up, and I went with, so my final decision was Michael Chad Murray. So Michael Chad Murray was the lead actor in One Tree Hill. He used to be a model turned actor, but he also played an agent in Peggy Carter. In 2 seasons of that show of Peggy Carter. He played one of the FBI agents before S.H.I.E.L.D. was formed. He's got the height, the only thing is you'd have to kind of dye his hair to make it dark, because I picture in my mind that Dick Tracy has like black, like dark hair and not so blonde, right? But Michael Chad Murray is who I was going for to play Dick Tracy.
okay.
And it's funny because I'm looking at the pictures of Rupert and Michael, and they have kind of similar looks. So I think we're on the same page.
We're on the same page. Yeah, I'm watching him right now. Yeah.
And the fact that I liked him when he really played his character there in Peggy Carter, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., so to speak. They had that show. I mean, that show should have got a 3rd season to wrap stuff up. They cut it too early. He has the look. I like how he turned around and was in there, and how he fit in the suit, because that was cast in that same period of time back then in the 50s.
Right.
So he played the agent Jack Thompson. Chad Michael Murray. Yeah, he played Jack Thompson in that show, Agent Carter.
Right.
He's got a little bit of stubble sometimes, but in the show, he's clean cut. He does take action and lead in there, because at one point he becomes the intern leader for the department that Peggy Carter is working for. So and of course, being on One Tree Hill, he was the main character. He was the basketball star. So he was, once again, in the lead. I think this is an actor that would be able to turn around, and he's already played a period piece before.
Right.
Can do it again if you've done it once, and just embrace the character. Give him the hat, give him the watch, give him the trench coat, give him some theme song. But they have to do it as a period piece. It can't be done as a modern day.
Oh,
No. I know they would do Dick Tracy now. Okay, well, what would Dick Tracy now, be in the future? I would like to see that as a period piece once again.
Well, with the character that he has to surrounding himself with, especially if we're going to at least start bringing in his rogue gallery. His rogue gallery, like, just for the names alone, it will get no traction in modern times. So it has to be done as a period piece, like you said, back in the 40s, the 30s, the 40s. In those time frames, that will be the best way to illustrate Dick Tracy. I mean, look, I'm not even saying as comparison what they did with the movie in the 1990, but they had to do it as a timepiece. This one will have to be the same thing again.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So this is what I'm going with. So you're going with Rupert Friend. I'm going with Michael Chad Murray. Michael Murray, sorry. And this is who we've got cast to play Dick Tracy. And the way I see it is, once again, it could be a cool TV series. The only thing is, when it comes to some of the violence. Now, but I look at it this way. In Arrow, I watch Arrow on the CW, and this is where I'm going.
Good call.
Arrow, he shot people before he was even Green Arrow. He was just known as the Hood. He shot and killed people on the show. So they dealt with death before. Can this be, once again, a CW property? Yes. Especially that CW now has cut even more shows. So if you've seen the Man from Atlantis episode, you see what I talked, and I had a little bit of a rant and rave on the CW.
No,
saying, hey, man, do your thing. So now, once again, I'm still looking at CW. CW, I'm looking at you. One Tree Hill was on CW before. I think it was called CW. It was called a different network, but it morphed into CW. So Michael Chad Murray has already worked with them for One Tree Hill. It has to be a period piece. Clearly, you've opened up your budget because now you cut Naomi, right? So Naomi's been cut. Batwoman's been cut. Legends of Tomorrow has been cut.
Right.
Out of the original pillars, there are 4 pillars for the Arrowverse, as people call it. The only person still standing is Flash.
And that's on its way out, unfortunately.
Yeah, all the other shows have either been canceled or they've stopped. They reached their natural conclusion. You looking for stuff to do. Don't go off kilter. Here, let me help you, CW. Let me help you once again. We talked to you about the Man from Atlantis. Now we're going to talk to you about Dick Tracy. Regardless of who you pick out of the 2 that we selected, Dick Tracy would work for you because a period piece, it'd be something for you to do. Actors you already worked with, okay, that works out. And you can market it by doing, finally, a CW version of the Dick Tracy timepiece smartwatch. Trust me, the marketing is there.
It's right there.
We want our gift basket to Iconis podcast. We want representation. We know you film all the time out in Vancouver, so we want to be flown out to Vancouver to have behind the scenes interviews with your characters. Okay,
we're asking for a lot.
Right, it's fair. It's fair. No. If we gave you the idea, you got to turn around and show us. Come on, now we've done the research for you. We've cast it for you. We've done the research for you. Show it this way. I will not be Wesley Snipes in this situation. Because Marvel, I'm looking at you. Hey, Mickey, you better reach out to Wesley Snipes for Father's Day, because he was, to me, stole the godfather of the new modern Marvel universe.
Facts.
That's how we do. So, look, as I said, you can find all the Dick Tracy cartoons, the black and white movie here on YouTube. For those listening on the Iconis podcast on any streaming services, you can flip over to YouTube. You can find it, have a good, go through memory lane. You can also find there's an omnibus with all the classic black and white strips you can always pick up from any of your local places like Amazon and Chapters, Indigo, any of your bookstores, or better yet, just go to a classic comic book store, a true comic book store, and pick up some individual issues. Keep the books alive. Save the pulp.
Save the pulp.
I mean, don't worry about the tree being chopped down. It's already been done and dead. So come on now, at least support it. Give it a good home. Keep the books going. Support your comic book stores. That's why you should go to Wow Comics or Check Swings if you're in Montreal.
Just saying.
Righto. And on that note, don't forget, I know coming up, by the time this episode airs, will it be in time? Oh no, this episode just happened after we did a show in Burlington with a touch of comedy. Touch of gray. So if you came out, thank you. If you want to know, keep an eye on my on my YouTube page, my website, to see where I'll be next. Looking at you, Grimsby and St. Catharines area. I'm coming.
All right.
Any last words, Rod?
Listen, appreciate everyone, coming with us for the ride. Make sure, again, like Barry said, make sure you hit that follow, share, let everybody know we're having fun here. And Dick Tracy is a it's not a bad property to think into. CW, he said it. It's not too bad. Listen, you got a couple of coppers. We're gonna talk like Dick, like Dick Tracy. We got a lot of coppers there left there. You got a lot of coppers you can use there. Hey, use it, Dick Tracy, use it. I'm just saying.
That's right.
I'm just saying.
Don't forget where it came from. On that note, remember, Barry 3D here with DJ Rod C.
Let's go.
Right on. Support him on Twitch. find where I'm at. You can support the show. Thank you very much. Support all the friends of the show. And as always, this whole world we talk about started with a pencil, a piece of paper, and lots of imagination. Keep on dreaming.
Beep, beep, beep. Beep, beep. I need help. Catch me on the west end, on the east end. All right, Tracy. Thank you. Click, click. Oh, wait a minute. Wait.
He sent me his GPS. I'm out.
All right, cool. All right,
I gotta go. Out of mission.
Look at that. When we thought Kit and Knight Rider were the original ones.
No. Good eye.
In your eye. My eye.